from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening. Welcome to the National News broadcast brought to you live from the National News Studios here at the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I am Dishan Virakon together with Sharon Mascarenas.
Fierce clashes in Ukraine. Hits $100 a barrel. A commission to resolve issues pertaining to railway workers. A power interruption in several provinces tomorrow. 50,000 houses for people with less facilities in urbanized settings by 2024. A UN-backed report warns of a rising global wildfire threat.
Now in your top story for tonight. Now Russia has declared war on the Ukraine. Now when it comes to the repercussions and the consequences on the international economy, it is much needed to take an in-depth analysis regarding it. Therefore, let's move on to our foreign analyst Prasad Durangurige.
Yes, Dishan, Ukraine's worst nightmare became a reality this morning. Fighting are now going on. And what happened? As world citizens, we never expected such a devastating war in this region, but it's now taking place. All started in this morning. What happened? Initially, President Vladimir Putin mentioned that he made a decision on demilitarizing and denazification of Ukraine. Then shortly, Russian air authorities contacted their Ukrainian counterparts and informed that Ukrainian airspace was not safe anymore for civilian flights. So Ukrainian authorities acted very quickly and removed all the civilian flights in that particular region. Then shortly, there were a number of explosions in many Ukrainian cities, including capital Kyiv. Explosions took place near military installations, air defense centers, and many other military facilities. With that, Russia launched a fierce missile attack using its most advanced missile systems in their arsenal. They used, for the initial attack, they used number of Iskander missile. Iskander missile was much discussed within defense analysis these days, because military experts say it's a lethal weapon when considering this type of attacks. And Russians also used MB3 missile system, which is very similar to a Grad multi-barrel rocket system. At the same time, they launched an airstrike also. Ukrainian authorities later informed that they shot down 6 Russian military aircrafts, and they said they killed 40 Russian soldiers in various battles within the Ukrainian territory. So with that statement, we can understand that Russia launched its offensive on Ukraine in multiple areas. That means they use airspace as well as they use land. So what happened? What about the civilian casualties? Now Ukraine mentioned that initially they said 7 people were killed and 19 injured, but later they raised the tally. They said over 40 people were killed and dozens injured in Russian attacks. However, Russia mentioned that they launched these attacks considering to avoid major civilian casualties. So number of contradictory reports are coming from the battlefield. Dishan, then we have to think about the global reaction. All the Western powers, including United States of America and European Union, they have condemned the Russian action, saying that the attack is a devastating measure against democracy, and they lined up the toughest sanctions in the history against Russia. Now, if these sanctions are going to take place immediately, then it will be a devastating effect on Russian economy, because directly it will hit Russian oil and gas supplies in especially in Europe. So, with that we saw a huge volatile situation in global energy markets. Today, after 2014, we saw the highest oil price in the global market. Brent crude barrel went up to a price of $105. Then much bigger energy crisis is looming, because if this war going to be a long one, then Russia is one of the major energy suppliers in the global market. It's one of the leading global oil producers as well as natural gas producers. So, definitely it will be a major energy crisis that can affect many economies, including Sri Lanka.
Well, devastating indeed. Thank you, Mr. Prasad, for that valuable insight. Well, moving on with more local stories.
On your local story for today, we have a story for you that His Excellency the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa makes an observational visit to the mechanical engineer factory in Ratmalana belonging to the Sri Lanka Railway Department today.
Well, now that the government has taken steps to appoint a commission to resolve issues pertaining to railway workers, now President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has instructed Minister Pavitra Wanyarachi in this regard.
The President made this decision following an observational visit to the mechanical engineering factory in Ratmalana belonging to the Sri Lanka Railway Department today. The President instructed that all existing issues, including recruitment and resource management, must be addressed within 2 months. Usually, approximately 110 railway carriages are directed to the Ratmalana factory for maintenance and repairs in a period of 1 year. However, worker issues have limited the capacity to 70 carriages at present. The employees have said that the number has reduced by 50% in the last 2 years due to the COVID pandemic. The President said that the prevailing irregularities over the recruitment of trained employees should be resolved, and a methodology should be facilitated to recruit personnel trained from vocational training institutions, including Sri Lanka German Railway Technical Training Centre. The President also instructed the Chief Engineer to prepare and submit a complete report over the repair and maintenance needs. Currently, approximately 6,700 tons of scrap metal are deteriorating at the factory premises. Therefore, attention was directed to auction the scrap metal, and the 600 million rupees revenue earned should be utilized for the needs of the department as well as its employees.
මේ රස්සාවට ආපු කාලේ අවුරුදු 4න් 4ට මේක උසස් වීම තිබ්බා. දැන් මේක අවුරුදු 10කට ගිහිල්ලා අවුරුදු 10න් ගන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙම ගොඩාක් උසස් වීම නතර කරලා දිනවා. දැන් ඔයා බැඳුනි කවුද? මම ආවේ ලේබර් කෙනෙක් පස්සේ. කොයි කාලේ? මම ආවේ 87 ආවේ. මම කියනවා නේද? දැන් මම අවුරුදු 34ක් ගියා. මොනවද ඔයාගේ පිටියක් යන්න අලුතෙලිය කරන ඒවනේ තියෙන්නේ. ඒකේ වා මොකක් හරි මේකක් ක්වොලිෆිකේෂන් එකක් ගන්නවද? දැන් සර් ඒ වගේ මේ ගොඩක් ක්‍රියාවලිය 4න් 4ට උනේ නැහැ කියලානේ කියන්නේ. දැන් ඒක සර් 10ට ගිහිල්ලා 10න් දෙන්නෙත් නෑ. ඉතින් ඒක ලොකු අඩුපාඩුවක් කරන්නේ. අපේ අඩුපාඩුවක් නෙමෙයි. මේ පදවැගනේ කඩිපාඩුවල ඉස්සකින් දෙන ක්‍රියාවලිය තියෙන්නේ මේ විදිහට. ගන්නකොට ටක් ගාලා දෙනවා. ඔය දැන් එහෙම කිව්වට සර් ඉඳන් ඔය කතාවයි කියන්නේ.
The majority of the factory has joined the service as labourers. Therefore, a decision was reached to prepare a mechanism to provide promotions for them before retirement. Also, steps will be taken to provide necessary trainings for the employees in and out of the factory. Attention was directed over the listing of inventory articles and storage using computer technology. Minister Pavitra Vanniyarachchi, State Minister Dilum Amanugama and Chief Advisor to the President Lalit Veeratunga were present at this meeting.
In other stories, a tense situation occurred in Parliament today over an incident related to parliamentarian Harin Fernando.
Minister
Dinesh Gunawardena said that the damage which may cause from bringing an instrument which is not listed can be detrimental. He added that such instruments or equipment may lead to certain chemical reactions based on the contents. He further said that this was evident from the incident occurred at a church in Borella recently. Therefore, he requested the Speaker for his immediate interference and a direct stern attention over the security of the entire Parliament, as well as a clarification to the Parliament in this regard. Speaker Mahindaya Abeyewardena said that a decision was reached at a party leaders meeting to not allow any parliamentarian or any other individual to bring any equipment.
Well, now the government will not include pension funds in a planned 25% retrospective tax. Now, Minister Nima Siripala de Silva reiterated at the Parliament today. Now, there were heated exchanges between government and opposition members in connection with the pension funds issue.
Parliamentarian Hesha Vitana inquired whether the threat on the Employees Trust Fund has been prevented and asked whether the government can guarantee in this regard. Minister Nimal Siripala de Silva said that the Finance Minister has given the assurance to the Cabinet that Employees Trust Fund will not be impacted under the Surcharge Act. Parliamentarian Harsha De Silva claimed that Employees Trust Fund Act has clearly stated that the relevant revenue cannot be subjected to taxation. He said that the government imposed a tax of 14% on the Employees Trust Fund last year as a continuation from the previous governments. State Minister Shehan Semasinghe said that the tax was increased up to 14% from the tax introduced in April 2018 at 10%. He pointed out that the government never introduced a 14% tax as a whole. Minister Bandula Gunawardena claimed that the previous government amended the Inland Revenue Act in 2018 and introduced a new act instead. Therefore, he said that the previous government should take the responsibility for including Employees Trust Fund under the company definition and taking measures to impose taxes on the Employees Trust Fund on the basis of a company. Parliamentarian Harsha De Silva said that if the government had the need to remove the ETF from this, then it could have been brought under the Company Act in 2007. State Minister Shehan Semasinghe said that then Minister Harsha De Silva has been included in the Hansard in the year 2017 when the Inland Revenue Act was amended, and has even voted in favour, which eventually led to the taxations and tax increases. Parliamentarian Lakshman Kiryalla said that the relevant act was presented by him in 2017 as the leader of the House. He demanded to present evidence over an alleged 25% fraud occurred from the ETF. Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that the former leader of the House has claimed that the 25% charge has not been mentioned. Therefore, he inquired the rate mentioned in the bill when it was passed in the Parliament. Parliamentarian Ranil Wickremesinghe inquired onto the issues pertaining to the Act in 2017. Minister Bandula Gunawardena said that Pensions Fund, ETF and EPF have been included under the definition of company as indicated in the Act. Therefore, he said that when the surcharge is imposed, the relevant tax will be imposed on all companies under the Act. Parliamentarian Ranil Wickramasinghe said that an indication should have been made when the bill was tabled as into who will be impacted from the imposition of the surcharge. He added that such an issue is a shortcoming and all have to agree in this regard.
We'll come back now in more local stories. Now, the ongoing electricity crisis in the country has been devastating on the livelihoods of people. Now, the Public Utilities Commission has made a decision on this regard.
The Ceylon Electricity Board has taken steps for a rotational load shedding up to more than 5 hours in several provinces from tomorrow. The relevant move has been made with the approval of the Public Utilities Commission. Accordingly, zones A, B and C will experience a power interruption up to a period of 4 hours and 40 minutes. Other zones will experience a power interruption of 5 hours and 15 minutes. Accordingly, the load shedding will occur between 8 a.m. until 10:30 p.m. tomorrow. Furthermore, the daytime power interruption will be for 2 hours and 40 to 45 minutes, and the nighttime power interruption will be 2 hours and 2.5 hours. Meanwhile, zones A, B and C experienced a power interruption up to a period of 4 hours and 40 minutes today. Other zones experience a power interruption of more than 4 hours and 30 minutes accordingly.
Now, 50,000 housing units are expected to be built for the people with less facilities in urbanized settings by 2024. Now, the objective of this project is to transform housing units with less facilities in Colombo into multi-story housing complexes. Now, 14,611 houses have already been vested with the public at present. Another 5,590 housing units are currently under construction.
In other stories, residents in Marwali zone set to receive 100,000 Run Bima deeds. Symbolizing the inauguration of the program, farmer families in 134 Grama Seva divisions in Valava zone expected to receive the title deeds. The ceremony is expected to be held at Amilipitiya Marwali grounds. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa are the chief guests of the event. A media briefing was held on the national program with the participation of Minister Chamal Rajapaksa in Colombo today. Minister Chamal Rajapaksa said that the Marwali project consists of 10 zones, yet the resident farmers are yet to receive title deeds for the lands. He said that under policy statement of the President, the instructions were given to prepare a special program to facilitate the legal right for the land for each farmer family. He added that under the program, 35,000 have been fulfilled thus far. The minister further said that the national program to provide 100,000 land deeds is expected to complete at the end of the year.
Meanwhile, a group of Tamil National Alliance parliamentarians engaged in a protest outside the presidential secretariat. Now, although they mentioned that they have come to meet the president and hand over a letter, they have not given any advance notice to meet the president today. Now, in a statement issued by the president's media division. Now, the president has left for a previously scheduled program this morning. Although the TNA parliamentarians have been given a time to meet the Prime Minister, they have not attended the meeting and are protesting outside the presidential secretariat as per a statement issued by the president's media division. It is clear that their arrival without prior notice and the protest which took place when the president was not in office was a deliberate conspiracy to portray a wrong image about the government at the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva. The statement further indicated.
We now bring you stories of a tragedy of the elephant-human conflict. Even though reports over human-elephant conflicts have been shared for a long period of time, the reporting of such incidents have become frequent in the recent past. The researchers have claimed that the habits of the people to freely roaming wild elephants have become the main cause of such incidents.
This is the footage of the recent attack on a vehicle transporting foreign tourists. The incident was reported from the Habarana area. Such incidents were reported recently from several national wildlife parks in the country. The Minneria-Habarana main road is unique among the routes where wild elephants can be often sighted. This 18-kilometer-long main road is laid within the Minneria National Wild Park. The wild elephants can be sighted near the main road even during the daytime, as people have developed a habit to feed the elephants while travelling along the road. The environmentalists have pointed out that attempts taken to capture photographs while feeding the elephants can be highly dangerous. Therefore, they have emphasized that people should prevent from feeding these wild elephants to avoid any harm on both the humans as well as the wild animals.
Now, the World Scout Day celebrations and the awarding of President Scout certificates was held at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. Now, the event was held under the patronage of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The Scout movement is the largest voluntary organization for children in the world, with 52 million children in 172 countries. The highest award a Scout can receive is the President's Scout Medal. The Chief Commissioner of the Sri Lanka Scout Association, Attorney-at-Law Janapith Fernando, welcomed the Chief Scout President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, adorning a Scout scarf when the President arrived at the venue. The President paid floral tributes to the statue of Scout movement founder Robert Baden-Powell and then presented the Presidential Scout Awards to selected Scouts, one person from each district. In parallel to the program held at the Presidential Secretariat, 9 programs were held at the provincial level and 700 President Scouts were awarded certificates. The program was conducted by connecting all the provinces live via online. Assistant Chief Commissioner Prabhat Kularatnam presented the report on the successful completion of the National Scout operation to plant 100,000 saplings to the President.
In other stories for you, Sri Lanka and Japan shares a unique and lasting friendship. Sri Lanka has gained many benefits for the close relations with Japan shared across various fields, including the socio-economic and socio-cultural spheres. Therefore, Minister Dalasala Peruma said that Japan has become Sri Lanka's largest donor at present.
The minister requested Japanese ambassador in Sri Lanka, Mizukoshi Hideaki, to take steps to transform Sri Lanka into Japan's tourism and investment destination. He made these remarks while attending a ceremony as the chief guest held at the official residence of the Japanese ambassador.
From the mass media's ministry's point of view, I must thank nation of Japan for their generosity, for donating our country a then state-of-the-art television production and broadcast station. I must express our nation's gratitude to former President J.R. Jayawardena to bringing our bilateral relationship to the highest level with it. Your Excellency, you will be happy to know we just celebrated our 40th anniversary in broadcasting, utilizing your enormous gesture of goodwill. Also, Japan is responsible for the digitalization of our TV broadcasting system, which I am happy to say we are able to reboot after a prolonged delay, but on course to be completed by the end of year 2024. It will mark another special milestone of Japan-Sri Lanka friendship, benefiting our nations, mass media and communication. Japan's most generous gesture in the recent past was the donation of 1.45 million doses of vaccine. Japan has also provided $16.2 million to Sri Lanka to assist its fight against COVID-19.
Director General of Health Services Dr. Hemantha Herath says that the ongoing power crisis in the country has no adverse effect on the storage of COVID-19 vaccines. Now, he made these remarks addressing a media briefing today.
Questions have been raised about the impact on the current power interruptions on the vaccine and the vaccine management as well as the general management of health services. Firstly, the management of vaccines has been successfully done in Sri Lanka over the past many decades, and the necessary infrastructure has been developed over the past many decades, and all necessary infrastructure, including the backup power to maintain the cold chain, has been established, and the facilities available in almost all health facilities in Sri Lanka. And also for the specific vaccine used in these days, especially the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines required high or extremely low temperature levels or refrigeration facilities, for which we used our own facilities that has been used for other purposes like blood banks and other places. So therefore, almost all vaccines are entirely managed by the health ministry facilities, except in rare occasions where we outsource it when the large number of vaccines are for temporarily sometimes present in the country. So therefore, we would like to emphasize that current system is capable of handling or maintaining the cold chain and other things, and also our infrastructure is capable and good enough, and the capacity is sufficient to maintain the cold chain on the optimum level. So therefore, there will be any impact on the vaccination program because of the current power interruptions that we are experiencing. However, what is required is to generate backup power, we need fuel. So therefore, we expect all agencies who are involved in supply of fuel need to give priority to the health sector, especially in the periphery where the constant requirement of fuel will be there to maintain the backup power supply.
Omicron is the latest variant of concern and currently accounts for the majority of COVID-19 infections worldwide. The Omicron variant of concern is currently the dominant variant circulating globally, accounting for nearly all sequences reported, the World Health Organization said on Tuesday. Omicron was declared as a variant of concern due to several factors, such as factors are its increase in transmissibility, detrimental change in COVID-19 epidemiology, and an increase in virulence or change in clinical disease presentation. Although coronavirus shots still provided protection during the Omicron wave, the shield of courage they offered was weaker than during other surges. At the end of December, unvaccinated people were 10 times as likely to die as the vaccinated who had received the initial series of 2 Pfizer-BioNTech or Moderna shots. The average number of Americans getting their first shot is down to about 90,000 a day, the lowest point since the first few days of the U.S. vaccination campaign in December 2020. About 76% of the U.S. population has received at least one shot so far.
Now, taking a look at more stories here at home, a group of farmers belonging to the Agrarian National Federation engaged in a protest in front of the Agriculture Ministry recently. Now, they submitted several demands to the government. The Ministry of Agriculture has given a positive response for these demands today. Minister Mahindananda Alutgamage conducted a meeting with the representatives of the Federation. It was revealed during the meeting that the attention should be directed if the harvests have been affected due to organic cultivation. The minister instructed to provide prompt compensation for the farmers who are yet to receive their respective compensations. The minister also responded positively over the issues pertaining to price rates of pesticides, supply of organic fertilizer, and concerns pertaining to farmers involved in vegetable and other crop cultivations.
Convocation of the first university batch who have successfully completed the country's technological degree will be held on the 28th. Vice-Chancellor of the Sri Jayawardhanapura University, Senior Professor Sudhanta Liyanage made remarks in this regard during a media briefing held at the Government Information Department yesterday. For the first time, the BSc Honours in Engineering degree from the Engineering Faculty and BSc Honours in Engineering Technology, BSc Honours in Ecosystems Technology and the BSc Honours in Information and Communication Technologies from the Technology Faculty and the Sri Jayawardhanapura University will be awarded at this year's convocation. Meanwhile, the 25th anniversary ceremony of the Marketing Management Studies Division of the Management Studies and Commerce Faculty at Sri Jayawardhanapura University was held yesterday.
Well, that's a wrap of tonight's primetime news bulletin here at the Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. And until we meet again next time, do take care, stay safe, and good night.